Hey, welcome back, guys. Alright, we're going to take a look at what we've got going on with the Teahouse. First, I want to apologize for taking so long to get any videos up, and I didn't do the channel champs this week. I had to go to the doctor yesterday and found out I've got a severe sinus infection, so I wasn't much in the mood to do a lot of talking and videoing this week, but I'm on some super drugs and I'm back on the mend, so we'll get back in the swing of things here. So what we've got is the nasty ugly base. I just base coated it, threw some black on the bottom and threw a little brown on it. We're gonna be fixing that up. I haven't done a whole lot with the base yet, the porch. Then we've got the bottom part here. And you can see I've done some woodwork. This is all just balsa wood. So I just cut out balsa and fit the pieces on. Kind of made some designs. And you can see I've got like some gold inlay there. So we'll talk a little bit about how I did that. What that is are these little aluminum cheapy rings. They're like wedding decorations. You can find them in dollar stores or party stores. You get like 50 of them in a bag for a couple of bucks. So I just took them and they separate real easy. Just take them out on the concrete in my garage and the hammer and kind of flatten them out. Figure out how long they need. Take some snips like this and just snip them off and glue them in there, and there you go. You got some nice gold inlay stuff. Nice and easy and cheap, and I think it looks really good. So we got that part done. Now the door, what I did for the door is I just cut a piece of foam core like this. That was a little bit bigger than the door. It's going to go in back here like this. Took a pencil and just marked out how big the door was, and then cut out some balsa wood and kind of framed the doors up. So there we got the doors, and they're gonna get glued in here just like this. Alright, so that's how that's gonna be. So we've got that going on. Now nothing terribly different. I mean, it's a little tedious doing this stuff, measuring each piece and getting it in here and cutting it, but it's not difficult. It's just cutting some balsa wood and gluing it on. I've used two colors for the wood. For the lighter wood I just used regular old brown, and then for the darker wood I used this color espresso, just to get some variations in the wood coloring there. Alright, now the roof we're getting close on. You can see now this is, of course, is not going to be blue. I've just got it taped off because I've got wood under here and I don't want to get the paint on the wood because I've got to do some more painting on the roof. I'm going to go through the roof painting with you as I've got the top roof done, and you can see it's kind of I'm kind of going after a jade look. So I'm going to show you how I painted that up. Okay, so obviously I just base coated this in black. This is all plaster cast from the Hearst Arts mold. So, the plaster's white. Base coated it in black, did a couple of coats, made sure that I got up underneath and all the nooks and crannies so I don't have any white plaster showing through. And before we get started painting, I know that you really wouldn't see jade roofs. Jade roofs are actually exceedingly rare, I believe, in feudal Japan. And they certainly wouldn't have been on something like a tea house like this. Of course, it probably would not have had something like that gold inlay. But you also wouldn't have seen things like orcs and goblins and elves and dwarves and things like that. So I'm going to take a little artistic license because I just like this look. So I understand we're not doing historically accurate stuff here. I'm just doing fantasy fun stuff. So what we're going to do is I've just got some hunter green. It's just a dark green. So we're going to do another coat with that. This is almost going to be another base coat. Alright, so I got 2 coats of that hunter green on. Still drying a little bit. It dries pretty quick, but one thing I've discovered about these brushes, when I did the black coat, the base coat, this actually worked really well. When I did the green coat over the black, this sucked. I had more bubbles than I had with the crummy dollar store paint brushes. And I think the reason is because when I was doing the black coat, it was on bare plaster, and plaster is extraordinarily porous, and so it could kind of disperse the air bubbles that get trapped with this stuff. This thing actually puts a lot of air into the paint, which if I'd have, had a brain in my head, I would have figured that out before I tried putting paint on. But when I put it on here, there was just massive amounts of bubbles, and I think it's because it already had a black coat on it, and so the bubbles didn't have anywhere to go. Anyway, that's my theory. These brushes aren't that great, so fortunately they're cheap. Not going to worry about it. So I ended up doing this whole thing with this brush, and let me tell you, that takes a little while. But my problem is any bigger brushes start putting a lot of air bubbles in it. So, we'll just do what we got to do. So anyway, I'm going to let this completely dry up, take a few minutes, and then we'll do the first highlight coat. Okay, so we're all dry and ready to go. And next what we're going to do is we're going to use this color called Shamrock. It's just kind of a medium green. So here's the hunter green that we used, and here's the Shamrock. So you can see it's just kind of a medium green. And we're just going to get kind of most of this and most of the top, the raised tile areas. So we're just going to paint over that. So I've just got kind of a slightly watered down green. It's going to go on pretty thick. And we're just going to paint these on. So don't worry if you get some in the recesses. That's alright. It's all gonna come out fine. So just paint all these, and this is kind of painstaking and takes a while, but you just got to put the time in if you want the results. So we're just going to do this, and then once I get that done, I'll come back and we'll work on the next stage. Okay, we're done with that first highlight. So now we're going to go on to, I've got that same Shamrock, and I'm going to add a little bit of this dark yellow, probably about half and half. So I'm going to put that in to lighten this up quite a bit. And I'm not going to add any water to this because now we're going to start getting into the realm of dry brushing. This one is going to be a little heavy, but we don't want any water in it because we don't want it really flowing down into the recesses anymore. Alright, so you see we've got a fairly light mixture. This up here is the original Shamrock color. You can see that. So we've lightened it down to this. Alright. So we're going to take some of this and just kind of go over the tops. And we just want to pull down so that we leave some of the darker green back up under here, under the overlaps. And that'll help kind of shade this thing. We're going to do the same thing with the shingles here. We're just going to kind of wipe down on the shingles, and we're really just kind of hitting the tops here. Alright, so I'm just going to go all the way around like that, and then we'll come back and do some more because we're actually going to do a few highlight colors here to get us to this level. Alright, so be right back. Alright, so I finished that layer, and you can see we're getting pretty close here. I think maybe 2 more highlight layers. Essentially what I'm going to do is I just keep adding more of this dark yellow and lightening this up and then going over lighter and lighter till, so I'll do 1 more layer that's you know, the very tops of these, and then a layer that's mostly this yellow, and try to hit just the edges of the tiles. So let's take a look at what that's going to look like. So a big old another glob of yellow in there, and I know I got a lot of paint in here. I just don't want to have to, I want to make sure I have enough to go all the way around for all the highlight layers. I don't want to have to try to mix these colors again, because they aren't exact mixes, so I'd never be able to match it exactly. So I want to make sure it goes all the way around the roof with that one color. I'm actually going to go a little more yellow here. Alright, so you can see we're going pretty light on this. And this is going to be pretty much a dry brush. I'm just going to hit the very tops, or well, not the very tops, but try to get just the tops of the tile parts without too much on there. Okay, so you get the idea. So I'll finish going around on this. I'm going to lighten it up and go just the tips again, and then I think we'll be about done. So we'll be right back. Alright, so the roof is done. We've got a pretty good match to the top roof, and I think that looks pretty nice. I like that paint scheme. So really the only thing we've got left to do on this, besides gluing parts and pieces together, is to do the work on the porch, the railing and the plank work, and this thing will be ready to ship. So Ghost, let me know if there's anything else you want to do here, and we will talk to you guys next time.